Welcome back to part 5 of this holiday series. In this video we're going to be taking a long drive from Ardalstangen in Sognefjord to Rjukan in Telemark, and along the way we're going to be visiting a couple of hydroelectric museums. Well, today is our last day in Ardalstangen and we are heading off to Rjukan. We're going to go via a west route via Voss and Hardangertunnellen. So that includes the longest road tunnel in the world. That's what we're going to be driving through very soon. So after a short drive back along the fjord, we were on the main E16 highway. Okay, so we are now heading for Lærdalstunnelen, 24.5 kilometers. This is the world's longest car tunnel. It will be some time before we get to the other end. So if you wanted to get to Bergen by road before the year 2000, you had to take a ferry somewhere. There was no continuous road going from Bergen to Oslo anywhere. This was the most important road, the E16, and it took a ferry across the Sognefjord into Gulvangen from Lærdalen. And I'm not too sure how long the ferry time was, but I'm guessing maybe 1.5 to 2 hours was the journey time. And yeah, it took a long time to do that journey. Nowadays, it takes much less time. It's probably about 30 minutes to do that same journey. Nearly out of the tunnel. Just a few hundred meters left to go. So here we are, that's it. Nice and easy, and it's no longer a toll tunnel, which is also good. They tend to only apply road tolls to new projects. Once the project's paid off, they remove the road toll. So things like this are good. Now, after the Lærdalstunnel, you will find that there are quite a lot of other tunnels to be driving through. But once you're out of the tunnels, what you will be presented with are some extremely dramatic valleys to be driving through. So one of the places we're stopping at is Tvindafossen. It's about 110 meters tall, this cascade waterfall. On the E6, well signposted, quite a busy spot, often quite a few tour buses coming along. So that's Tvindafossen. So now that we've been to Tvindafossen, we're now going to be heading south. We're going to Odda. There's a museum there, hydroelectric museum. Along the way there's Hardangerfjord. So we carried on highway E16 to Voss, a very busy highway, and then we turned left onto highway 13 on our way to Hardangerfjord. So we're in a tunnel called Hardangertunnel, and we are going to be emerging onto Hardangerfjord before too long. We have roundabout, underground roundabout, and then not too long beyond here, something very cool happens when we come out of the tunnel. Now, I don't think there is a bridge quite like this anywhere else in the world, which goes straight from tunnel to suspension bridge, and on the other side of this it goes straight back to tunnel again. But Hardangerfjord, it's one of the more extensive fjord networks, as well as Sognefjord. Yeah, this is a pretty cool bridge. I've seen it on the flight from Stavanger to Oslo quite a few times. It's quite interesting. And back into a tunnel. This is one of the more expensive tolls. It's about 129 kroner, but there are discounts if you've got an auto pass, or if you're an electric car, you get a discount as well. Don't let the Hardanger Bridge lull you into a false sense of security. The road straight after this tunnel turns into something very stressful indeed. It is very narrow and very twisty and windy. So here we are at Gamle Odde, and we are at the southern leg of the Hardanger Fjord, and we're going to the hydroelectric museum. So let's go and take a look. So let's have a look, see what we've got here. 1918, okay. So we've got an 89 megawatt generation hall. It's quite interesting. So it was built from 1906 through to 1918, and then they went to a 50 hertz standard in 1948. So this is your incoming water. Looks like it comes through into here. So this must be your actual turbine, and then you have a shaft, and then I think this is your generator here. Interesting to see the pulleys. I'm not too sure what this is. Maybe it's a synchronization unit, I'm guessing. Interesting to just see a complete lack of signs and barriers. You wouldn't want to get your fingers trapped in there, that's for sure. So this unit here is 20 megawatts, and there's 5 units in total, bringing it up to 100 megawatts.
Comes through the pipes, so you can see here. It comes through the pipes, and then this down here is called the needle, which you, by turning a valve, either extend or retract to regulate the flow of the water, which means regulating the speed of the turbine, which is very important. And then the water comes in, it hits these scoops, and then it hits blades here, splits off into the 2 cups. Due to the laws of physics, this is far more efficient than just having the water hit flat, like a traditional watermill.
Okay.
And then additionally, a little bit of excess water, which would hit the turbine housing, would go back into the cups and be reused before it just drops dead and goes out into the fjord. So for the time, this was very efficient, but by contrast, the new Francis turbine, which is what's used in modern power plants, at least in Norway, those are way larger, and they lay horizontally instead of vertically. So they're able to handle higher pressure and more water. So whereas the 17 turbines in here powered 100 megawatts, the new power plant has 2 Francis turbines producing about 500 megawatts.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is something else.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Very impressive. So obviously this is the control room. This is where the engineer would work. Now, this panel in the back here is the only first generation control panel of its kind left in the world today.
Okay.
So it's very unique. First generation means it's original and hasn't been changed since it was built, but also it's from the first generation of control panels used in power plants. It's built from marble, partially to insulate from electricity, mainly because marble is expensive, especially Italian Carrara marble, which is what this is. And it's built from that because, again, this was supposed to be a symbol of wealth and innovation and power. So throughout the power station, they used more expensive material than they needed to, just to make a statement.
This is a three-phase supply by the looks of things.
Yes. So
okay.
This middle row here,
Yep.
these are remote controls for smaller generators.
Okay.
In the nearby mountains.
Okay, so 66 kilovolts and 12 kilovolts for each of these turbines?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are significantly smaller than this main one.
Yep.
What is switched, or is it is it also switching something?
No, so these are entirely visual for the engineer, just to show what's connected where.
Yeah.
And the reason they have this is because there were only one engineer here at the time, so when the next shift came in, it was very important that...
Well, I'm going to have to say that was a fascinating, very quick stop in Odda, and it motivates me to actually go to the Rjukan Dam reservoir back home in Scotland and take a look at that. I think that would be interesting to see. That one is built in the 1950s. I'm sure it's been upgraded since then. So yes, if you are passing through Odda, go to the Hydroelectric Museum here. Now the road beyond continues into the town of Odda, which is quite a growing and bustling town, I'm going to have to say. But the road is equally terrible the other direction until you get to the Highway E134, and then it improves a reasonable amount. But it's not until you get up and over the Haukeli Fjell that you get a really good quality road. However, after Haukeli, you turn off at that point and you carry on some very regional roads. Very quiet roads and quite enjoyable to drive along. A bit bumpy, but you don't have too many potholes to worry about. So here we are in Rjukan, and it's a rather soggy day. We are going to the Norwegian Industry Workers Museum, which is the site of the hydropower plant where there was a lot of sabotage efforts during the Second World War. They were producing heavy water here, and there was Norwegian resistance and British players involved with destroying the Nazi use of this facility. So this is now all a World Heritage Site, and that extends down to the main town where the heavy water was actually manufactured. So we're going to go across here. You have to go from the car park all the way up there in the rain in order to do this. So here's the suspension bridge across the gorge. Very nice it is too, or impressive. Let's just see how big this gorge is actually. I've got a feeling that's a deep gorge. Yeah, it's not as deep as Corrie Gorge, not as deep as Corrie, but it is wide. And further up there, I think that you've got the Rjukan Falls. I'm not too sure if they're still in operation or not, or whether they've been harnessed for hydropower, because the Rjukan Falls was once upon a time a very popular upper class tourist destination. So this is an example of a Francis turbine. We saw what a Pelton wheel looked like, and indeed there was a Pelton wheel at the bottom. This is much more efficient, as we learned yesterday in the at the hydroelectric scheme, but this has been in operation from 1957 to 1997. So this turbine wheel had an output of 38 megawatts. It looks much closer in resemblance to turbine impellers that you get in a lot of water pumps. So here you can see bits of the old building behind the glass facade. Looks like the preserved section of the blown up factory section, which was bombed during the war. But this is technically, this is the basement, even though it's ground floor by my reckoning, but upstairs is the actual official ground floor. So all of this is a museum. It's not operational at all, as you'd expect. It was originally planned to all be demolished back in the 1970s, but there is an operational power station inside the mountain. So very similar to Rjukan pump storage, I guess, in this day and age. These are quite a bit bigger than the ones in Odda. 6 megawatts. So not very big in terms of electricity output, considering the size of the thing. Well, AEG, they don't just do fridge freezers and washing machines, they do water turbines, generators as well. This is part of the electrolysis process, which was used for separating water into hydrogen and oxygen, which was part of the process of manufacturing heavy water. Much more rudimentary controls here. Voltage, power. This looks like a synchrometer, I'm guessing. Oh no, there's a synchronoscope up here. So this is one of the electrolyzers. So basically this entire power station was used to supply electricity for the manufacturing of hydrogen, which was used in the 1920s as a component for fertilizer production. And the byproduct was heavy water, and that was what the Germans were interested in. But now the hydrogen plant was demolished in the 1970s, but this factory was preserved and is now a World Heritage Site. Large components of this definitely look pre-war, that's for sure. So we are in Rjukan, in the middle of town. Well, not in the middle of town, at the edge of town. So we've got quite a few car chargers about in Rjukan. There's Evany over here. Further down the valley, we've got Tesla superchargers. Further up the valley, we've got Recharge. And we've got other chargers dotted about the place. This place called Hydropower that we were in, literally translation to be like a hut town. You can rent a hut there, but we're not staying there. So here we are in the middle of the town square. So it's quite a nice place. Apparently, yes. Up here. Up here, there are mirrors which will reflect sunlight into the town square in the winter time. So Rjukan, as a village, as a town, it only gets direct sunshine from March, middle of March through to the middle of September. There is no sunshine outside of those months in the autumn, winter or early spring. So to help brighten people's moods up, they added these mirrors to direct some sunshine into the town square. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to be visiting the summit of Lærdalstunnellen, which is a very special summit indeed in the south of Norway. In the meantime, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you again very soon.